The champagne had gone flat 20 minutes ago, but Mira Chen still held the glass like a shield. Around her, the crystal moon pack's grand ballroom pulsed with life, laughter, music, the clink of crystal, the rustle of expensive silk. Fairy lights draped from the vaulted ceiling cast everything in a golden glow that made her sister Vivian look like something out of a fairy tale as she spun across the dance floor in Marcus's arms. Mira stood in the corner and watched. Always watching. Always invisible. Did you see her dress? The whisper carried from 2 tables over. Aunt Linda, probably. Black to a wedding. So inappropriate. Well, what do you expect? Another voice. Cousin Sarah. She's broken. 24 years old and still hasn't shifted. It's embarrassing. Myra's fingers tightened on the champagne flute. The glass felt fragile. Everything felt fragile tonight. She'd known coming here was a mistake. But Vivian had insisted, and their mother had given her that look, the one that said don't make a scene, don't ruin this for your sister. As if Myra's mere presence could somehow tarnish Vivian's perfect day. So she'd come. She'd worn the black dress because it let her blend into corners. She'd smiled when Vivian walked down the aisle. She'd stood for the photographs, positioned at the edge where she could easily be cropped out later. And now she was counting the minutes until she could leave. Mira, sweetheart. Her mother materialized beside her, all perfume and pearls. Why are you hiding back here? Because no one wants me anywhere else. But Mira just smiled. I'm fine, Mom. Just tired. Well, you look tired. Her mother's gaze swept over her, clinical and disappointed. You should have let me take you shopping. That dress does nothing for you. The dress is fine. Her mother was already looking past her, toward the dance floor where Vivian and Marcus had paused to accept congratulations. Your sister looks beautiful, doesn't she? She always does. She's found such a wonderful mate. Alpha Marcus is from excellent bloodlines. Her mother sighed, the sound heavy with meaning. I'd hoped, well. We can't all be so fortunate. The words landed like a slap, gentle and devastating. Mira had spent 24 years learning to absorb them without flinching. I'm going to get some air, Mira said. Her mother had already drifted away. Mira set down the champagne flute, carefully, because her hands were shaking, and headed for the exit. She'd made it 3 steps when Derek and his friends blocked her path. Leaving already? Derek grinned, all teeth and cruelty. They'd gone to school together. He'd made her life hell then, too. Party's just getting started. Excuse me. Mira tried to step around him. We were just talking about you. Madison, Derek's girlfriend, smiled sweetly. About how brave you are, coming tonight. Brave? Myra's stomach tightened. Well, you know. Madison's voice dripped false sympathy. Being wolfless at a werewolf wedding. It must be so hard, watching everyone else be normal. The others laughed. Not loud enough to draw attention, but loud enough to cut. Mira walked past them. She'd learned not to respond. Responding only made it worse. She found an empty table in the far corner, half hidden by an elaborate floral arrangement. Perfect. She could wait here for another hour, then slip away. No one would notice. She sat down and stared at her hands. Normal hands. Human hands. No claws, no strength, no wolf lurking beneath the surface. Just Mira. Plain, broken Mira. 24 years old, she thought. 24 years of waiting for something that's never going to come. Most shifters experience their first transformation in their teens. By 20, if you hadn't shifted, people started whispering. By 24, you were a lost cause. An embarrassment to your bloodline. Mira had stopped hoping 3 years ago. She'd stopped a lot of things 3 years ago. The music swelled. Vivian and Marcus were dancing again, perfectly in sync, perfectly matched. Everyone watched them with admiration and envy. No one looked at Myra's corner. She was reaching for her purse, preparing to leave, when the ballroom went silent. It happened so suddenly that Myra's heart stuttered. One moment, music and laughter. The next, nothing but the sound of 200 people holding their breath. Mira looked up. A man stood in the ballroom entrance. No, not a man. An alpha. She could feel the power rolling off him even from across the room, heavy and electric and dangerous. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than her car. Dark hair, sharp features, and eyes that caught the light like silver coins. Handsome in a way that made her chest tight. But it wasn't his looks that made the entire room freeze. It was the authority that surrounded him like a cloak. The kind of power that made other alphas bow their heads. "That's Dominic Ashford," someone whispered nearby. "The Alpha King of the Northern Territories. What's he doing here?" He wasn't invited. Mira had heard of him. Everyone had. The youngest Alpha King in centuries, ruthless in business and battle, with a territory that stretched across 3 states. Rumors swirled around him, that he was searching for something, that his pack was cursed, that he'd killed his own father to take power. He stood in the doorway like he owned the place. Maybe he did. Alphas like that owned everything they touched. His silver eyes swept across the ballroom. Calculating. Searching. Marcus stepped forward, still holding Vivian's hand. "Alpha Ashford. We weren't expecting. I'm not here for you." Dominic's voice cut through the silence, low and absolute. His gaze continued scanning the crowd. People shifted nervously. A few bowed their heads in instinctive submission. And then his eyes found Mira. The world tilted. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. He was looking directly at her, and she felt pinned by that silver stare, like prey caught in a predator's sight. No. That wasn't right. He wasn't looking at her like prey. He was looking at her like he'd finally found what he'd been searching for. Dominic moved. Not fast, he didn't need to be fast. The crowd parted before him like water, everyone stepping back to clear his path. He walked straight across the ballroom, past Marcus and Vivian, past Myra's parents, past every important person in the room. Straight to her corner. Myra's heart hammered against her ribs. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. Men like him didn't see women like her. She was invisible. She was always invisible. But Dominic Ashford stopped directly in front of her table, and when he spoke, his voice carried to every corner of the silent ballroom. "You." One word. A command and a question and a statement all at once. Mira stared up at him, unable to form words. His hand extended toward her. "You're with me tonight." What? The words came out barely above a whisper. "Stand up." Not harsh. Not gentle either. Just absolute certainty that she would obey. Mira stood. She didn't know why. Maybe because every instinct in her body recognized the authority in his voice. Maybe because 200 pairs of eyes were watching and her legs moved without permission. Dominic took her hand. His palm was warm, calloused, and the moment his skin touched hers, something sparked. Electric. Alive. It shot up her arm and lodged somewhere behind her breastbone. He pulled her away from the table, toward the center of the ballroom. Toward the dance floor where Vivian and Marcus still stood frozen. "Wait," Mira managed. "I don't." Dominic stopped in the exact center of the room. He turned to face the crowd, still holding her hand, and when he spoke, his voice rang with unmistakable possession. "She's with me." The ballroom erupted in whispers. Myra's mother looked like she might faint. Vivian's perfect smile had cracked at the edges. Derek and his friends stared with open mouths. And Mira, invisible, broken, wolfless Mira, stood beside the most powerful alpha in the territories while everyone watched. Dominic pulled her close, one hand at her waist, and began to move. A waltz. He led and she followed, her body somehow remembering steps she'd only learned in childhood. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "Saving your life." His voice was low, meant only for her. "Play along." "I don't understand." "You will." His silver eyes held hers, intense and unreadable. "But right now, just dance. Unless you want to spend the rest of the night being invisible." Something in his tone made her think he knew. He knew exactly what it felt like to be her. And that impossibility kept her moving, kept her following his lead as the music swelled and the crowd watched. 3 songs. He danced with her through 3 entire songs, and with each passing minute, Mira felt something shift. The weight of invisibility lifting. The eyes that had always looked through her now couldn't look away. When Vivian approached, smile fixed and desperate, Dominic dismissed her with barely a glance. When her mother tried to intervene, he simply turned his back. He danced only with Mira. And when the 3rd song ended, he leaned close, his breath warm against her ear. "Get your things. You're leaving with me." "What?" "No. I can't just." 5 minutes, Mira. He knew her name. How did he know her name? "Pack a bag." 5 minutes. "I don't even know you." "You want the truth?" His silver eyes flashed with something primal, something that made her wolf-less heart race. "You're not broken. You're not wolfless. You're something much rarer, and there are people at this wedding who want you dead because of it." The ballroom spun. "That's insane." "Is it?" He checked his watch. "Expensive. Precise. It's 11:30. They'll strike at midnight. So you can come with me and live, or stay here and find out I'm right when they come for you." "You're lying." For minutes, Mira. She looked past him, at the crowd. At her family. At Vivian, who watched with cold calculation in her eyes. At the pack members who'd ignored her, mocked her, made her invisible her entire life. And she thought, what do I have to lose? 3 minutes, Dominic said softly. Mira made her choice that if you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 2. Mira sat in the passenger seat of Dominic's SUV, her hastily packed duffel bag at her feet, and tried to process what she'd just done. She'd left. Just walked out of her sister's wedding reception with a man she didn't know, based on a threat she didn't believe, making a choice that made absolutely no sense. Except it did. Somehow, terrifyingly, it did. "Put your seatbelt on," Dominic said. Mira clicked it into place, her hands shaking. In the driver's seat, a man she hadn't been introduced to navigated the dark mountain roads with practiced ease. Broad shoulders, military short hair, a scar along his jawline. He had the same predatory stillness as Dominic. "That's Garrett," Dominic said, not looking up from his phone. "My beta. He doesn't talk much." Garrett's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. "Only when there's something worth saying." "Where are we going?" Myra's voice came out smaller than she wanted. "My territory. Northern Mountains." Dominic typed something, sent it, moved to the next message. He'd been on his phone since they'd left, speaking in clipped sentences to people she couldn't see. "We'll be there in 2 hours." 2 hours? Mira twisted to look back, but the Crystal Moon Pack's estate had already disappeared behind the curves of the road. "I can't just leave for 2 hours. My family." "Your family," Dominic said flatly, "is the least of your problems right now. You said people want me dead. At my sister's wedding. That's insane." "Is it?" He finally looked up from his phone, those silver eyes catching the dashboard lights. "Tell me something, Mira. Has anyone in your family ever explained why you haven't shifted?" "I'm broken. Everyone knows that." "You're not broken." He said it with such certainty that something in her chest twisted. "You're dormant. There's a difference." "That doesn't make sense. If I had a wolf, it would have emerged by now." Not if it was suppressed. Dominic pocketed his phone. How much do you know about your family history? Your bloodline? Mira shrugged. We're Crystal Moon Pack. My father's family has been here for generations. My mother's from the East Coast originally. They met at. Before that. Go back further. I don't know. No one really talks about it. Of course they don't. Something dark crossed Dominic's face. Because your family has been hiding what you are for 3 generations. Diluting the bloodline. Breeding with humans and weak shifters. All to keep you hidden. Hidden from what? From people like me. He smiled, but it wasn't comforting. From people who know what a moonborn is worth. The word meant nothing to her. A what? Later. Dominic glanced at Garrett. Status? Clean so far. No one's following. Garrett took a turn fast enough that Mira grabbed the door handle. Called ahead. The house is secure. Good. Tell them to prepare the silver room. Already done. Mira looked between them. What's the silver room? Neither answered. The road climbed higher into the mountains. Trees pressed close on both sides, and the darkness beyond the headlights felt absolute. Myra's phone buzzed in her purse. Then again. And again. She pulled it out. 7 missed calls from her mother. 3 from Vivian. A dozen text messages. Where are you? Mom is furious. What were you thinking, leaving like that? With him? Are you insane? Call me right now, Mira. Right now. The messages got progressively more frantic. Mira stared at them, something cold settling in her stomach. Not one person had asked if she was okay. They're worried, she said. They're worried about themselves. Dominic took her phone from her hands, gentle but firm, and powered it off. Anyone tracking that phone can find you. And trust me, someone is trying. You can't just take my phone. I can and I did. You'll get it back when it's safe. When will that be? When you're not bait anymore. The word hung in the air between them. Bait. Like she was something to be caught. Used. Mira pulled her jacket tighter. I want to go home. No, you don't. Dominic's voice softened, just slightly. If you wanted to go home, you wouldn't have left. You would have stayed in that ballroom, smiling and invisible, letting them ignore you for the rest of your life. He was right. She hated that he was right. Why did you come tonight? Mira asked. To the wedding. You said you weren't invited. I wasn't. So why come? Because I was told a moonborn descendant would be there. He watched her face. I didn't know which one. Your sister or you. But the moment I walked in, I felt it. Felt what? Your power. Dormant but there. Like a heartbeat under the floorboards. His jaw tightened. And I wasn't the only one who felt it. Mira remembered the way people had looked at her after Dominic's announcement. Not with confusion. With calculation. With hunger. Had that been real? Or was she so desperate for attention that she'd imagined it? I don't have power, she said. I don't have anything. You have everything. Dominic leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You just don't know it yet. The SUV turned onto a smaller road, then through a gate that opened automatically. Garrett drove another 10 minutes before the trees broke and a house appeared. Not a house. An estate. 3 stories of stone and timber, windows glowing with warm light, surrounded by forest on all sides. Security lights illuminated a circular driveway where 2 more SUVs were parked. This is your territory? Mira asked. Part of it. The main estate is 50 miles north. This is the safe house. Why do you need a safe house? Because I have enemies. Dominic opened his door. And now, So do you. Garrett parked and was out of the vehicle in seconds, scanning the tree line. 2 men emerged from the house, more guards, from the look of them. They nodded to Dominic with the kind of respect that came from fear and loyalty mixed together. Mira climbed out slowly. The mountain air was cold, sharp with pine. So quiet. No city sounds, no pack sounds. Just wind and darkness and the feeling of being very, very far from anything familiar. Inside, Dominic said. The house was beautiful. Wood floors, high ceilings, furniture that looked expensive and comfortable. But Mira barely noticed. She was too aware of the men stationed at every entrance, of the cameras in the corners, of the heavy locks on the doors. This wasn't a safe house. It was a fortress. Your room is upstairs. Dominic gestured to a staircase. Second door on the right. There's clothes in the closet, bathrooms attached. You'll have guards outside your door. Guards? I'm not a prisoner. No. You're an asset. There's a difference. I don't want to be either. Dominic stopped walking. He turned to face her, and for the first time since they'd left the wedding, his expression shifted. Less alpha, more human. I know this is frightening, he said. I know you don't trust me. You'd be stupid to trust me. But I need you to believe one thing, I will not let anyone hurt you. Not while you're under my protection. Why? You don't know me. I know enough. He started walking again. Get some rest. We'll talk more in the morning. I can't sleep. I need answers. Tomorrow. Now. Mira grabbed his arm. The contact sent that same electric spark through her, stronger this time. Dominic felt it too. She saw his pupils dilate, saw the muscle in his jaw tick. He looked down at her hand, then up at her face. You really want to do this now? Yes. Fine. He pulled away and crossed to a cabinet, poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handed her one. Sit. Mira sat. Dominic remained standing, the glass looking small in his large hand. 23 years ago, he began, a family of shifters was slaughtered in Montana. Parents, children, grandparents. 15 people dead in one night. The official story was a rogue attack. The truth was they were killed because of their bloodline. They were moonborn. Mira sipped the whiskey. It burned. What is a moonborn? An old bloodline. Ancient. Shifters with abilities that go beyond normal wolves. Stronger, faster, and with gifts that vary by individual. Some can heal any wound. Some can influence other wolves' minds. Some can break curses. He said the last part with particular weight. Why kill them? Mira asked. Because power like that threatens the established order. Alphas who rule through strength don't want someone who can challenge them without even trying. So they formed a group, the Shadow Collective, and they've spent 2 decades hunting down every moonborn descendant they could find. And killing them. Yes. Mira set down her glass. Her hands were shaking again. You think I'm one of these moonborn? I know you are. Dominic drained his whiskey. Your great-grandmother was full-blooded moonborn. Your grandmother had the gift but never manifested. Your mother has trace amounts of the bloodline. And you, he pointed at her. You got the full inheritance. Your wolf is dormant because it's too powerful to emerge without guidance. Without preparation. That's impossible. Is it? Has anyone in your family ever let you near a pack healer? Ever let you train with other young shifters? Ever explained why you're different? Mira opened her mouth. Closed it. Because no, they hadn't. Her parents had always made excuses. Too expensive, too busy, too risky for someone wolfless. What if they'd been keeping her away on purpose? Even if this is true, Mira said slowly, why do you care? Why risk yourself to protect me? Dominic was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough. Because my pack is dying. We've been cursed for 3 generations. Our wolves are fading, our children are born weaker, our bloodlines are thinning. And the only way to break a curse that's strong is with Moonborn blood magic. Understanding crashed over her. You need me. Yes. To save your pack. Yes. At least he was honest. Mira appreciated that, even as her heart sank. So you didn't save me. You claimed me. Both. Dominic crouched in front of her chair, bringing himself to her eye level. I need you, Mira. I won't lie about that. But I also won't let them kill you to keep you away from me. I won't force you to help. And I won't abandon you even if you refuse. Why should I believe you? Because I'm the only one who's been honest with you tonight. He stood. Get some sleep. We'll talk more tomorrow. This time, Mira didn't stop him. She climbed the stairs alone, found the room he'd mentioned. It was nice. Too nice. Plush bed, soft lighting, windows that looked out over the dark forest. And guards outside her door. Mira unpacked her small bag, toiletries, a change of clothes, nothing important. She'd left everything important behind. Her life, her family, her identity. For what? A story about ancient bloodlines and dormant wolves and people who wanted her dead? She lay down on the bed without changing. Exhaustion pulled at her, but sleep felt impossible. Her phone was off, but she could still see the messages in her mind. Her mother's anger. Vivian's confusion. Not one of them asking if she was okay. Maybe Dominic was right. Maybe she'd left because deep down, she'd been waiting for an excuse. Mira closed her eyes. Tomorrow, she'd demand real answers. Tomorrow, she'd figure out if any of this was true. Tomorrow, she'd decide if she was going home. But tonight, in this fortress in the mountains with guards outside her door and an alpha downstairs who claimed she was something impossible, tonight, for the first time in her life, Mira Chen felt like someone worth protecting. Even if she didn't understand why. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 3. Mira didn't sleep. She lay in the too soft bed in the too quiet room and stared at the ceiling, watching shadows shift across the exposed beams. Outside her door, she could hear the guards moving occasionally, a footstep, a quiet conversation, the rustle of fabric. She was a prisoner in everything but name. At 3 in the morning, she gave up on sleep and explored the room properly. It was larger than her entire apartment back home. King-sized bed with a thick duvet, a sitting area with leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the dark forest. The bathroom was marble and chrome, stocked with expensive toiletries she'd never heard of. The closet held clothes in her exact size. Jeans, sweaters, workout clothes, even pajamas. All with the tags still on. How long had Dominic been planning this? Mira returned to the bedroom and noticed what she'd missed earlier, a bookshelf built into the wall beside the fireplace. Most of the books were new, popular fiction, the kind of thing you'd find in any guest room. But on the bottom shelf, almost hidden, were 3 older volumes. Leather-bound, pages yellowed with age. Mira pulled out the first one. The title was embossed in gold, Bloodlines of the First Packs. She opened it carefully. The pages crackled. Inside, someone had made notes in the margins, underlined passages, marked pages with slips of paper. Mira carried the book to one of the leather chairs and started reading. The text was dense, academic, discussing the origins of shifter bloodlines with the dry precision of a history textbook. But certain sections had been marked, and Mira found herself drawn to those passages. The Moonborn bloodline emerged during the Silver Age, characterized by wolves of unusual size and strength. Unlike common shifters, Moonborn possessed secondary abilities, healing, persuasion, curse-breaking. Their power was both revered and feared. By the Iron Age, deliberate culling had reduced their numbers significantly. Remaining Moonborn went into hiding, diluting their bloodline through intermarriage with humans and weaker shifters. By the modern age, true Moonborn were believed extinct. Someone had underlined that last sentence 3 times. Mira turned the page. A hand-drawn family tree filled the next spread, names and dates branching across both pages. At the bottom, written in fresh ink, was a name she recognized. Chen. Her family name. The tree showed 5 generations, each one marked with symbols she didn't understand. But the pattern was clear. Each generation had fewer Moonborn markers until there were almost none left. Until the last entry. A single name at the bottom of the page, marked with a symbol that appeared nowhere else on the tree. Mira Chen. And beside her name, someone had drawn a perfect silver circle. Her hands shook as she set the book down. This was insane. Ancient bloodlines, extinct shifters, hidden power. It was the kind of thing you saw in bad movies, not real life. Except Dominic believed it. And her family had spent 24 years making her believe she was broken. What if they'd been lying the whole time? Mira picked up the second book. This one was smaller, more like a journal. The handwriting inside was cramped and urgent, dated entries spanning several years. June 15th, another attack in Oregon. 3 dead, all with trace Moonborn ancestry. The collective is getting bolder. August 3rd, confirmed sighting in Maine. They got there first. Nothing we could do. December 20th, new intelligence suggests a surviving bloodline in the West. Crystal Moon Pack territory. Investigating. The entries continued for pages. Lists of names, most of them crossed out. Locations, dates, causes of death. Myra's stomach turned as she realized what she was reading. A record of genocide. Systematic elimination of an entire bloodline. The final entry was dated 3 weeks ago. Confirmed, Mira Chen, age 24, Crystal Moon Pack. Dormant but viable. Sister's wedding June 10th, window of opportunity. The book fell from her hands. They'd known. For weeks, they'd known about her. This wasn't chance. Dominic showing up at the wedding wasn't impulse. This was a rescue. Or a kidnapping. Maybe both. Mira stood and walked to the door. She pressed her ear against it, listening. The guards were still there, she could hear their breathing. She tried the handle. Locked from the outside. I need some air, she called through the door. Sorry, miss. A woman's voice, polite but firm. Alpha's orders. You stay in the room until dawn. I'm not a prisoner. No, miss. You're protected. Same thing, Mira thought bitterly. She returned to the window and looked out at the forest. Dark trees stretched in every direction, no lights visible except those from the house. Even if she could get out, where would she go? Back to her family? The family that had lied to her for 24 years? The thought sat heavy in her chest. Mira picked up the third book. This one was different, handwritten throughout, more grimoire than textbook. Sketches of wolves filled the margins. Rituals, ceremonies, warnings written in various hands across different time periods. One section near the middle had been marked with a red ribbon. Mira opened to that page. The awakening of a dormant Moonborn. Warning, Moonborn wolves carry immense power. If allowed to emerge without proper preparation and guidance, the shift will consume the host. The body cannot contain power it doesn't understand. Awakening must be controlled, ritualized, supported by pack bonds and elder magic. Signs of imminent awakening, heightened senses, emotional volatility, physical pain centered in the chest, prophetic dreams. Myra's breath caught. The pain she'd felt in the ballroom when Dominic touched her. The way she'd heard conversations from across the room. The electric sensation that had shot through her when their hands met. Were those signs? Or was she looking for patterns that weren't there? She kept reading. Without guidance, an uncontrolled awakening will result in one of 3 outcomes: death of the host, permanent madness, or emergence of a feral wolf that cannot be contained. The words blurred as exhaustion finally caught up with her. Mira set the book aside and lay down, just for a moment, just to rest her eyes. Sleep took her like a wave. And with it came the dreams. Silver fire burning across a dark landscape. Wolves running through smoke and ash. A massive creature with crimson eyes standing on a cliff, howling at a moon that bled red light. The creature turned, and Mira saw its face, her face, twisted and wrong, mouth full of too many teeth. It lunged. Mira jerked awake with a scream caught in her throat. Gray dawn light filtered through the windows. Her heart hammered, sweat cooling on her skin. Just a dream. Just a nightmare brought on by stress and strange books in. The door opened. Dominic stood in the doorway, already dressed, hair damp from a shower. He looked at her, at the books scattered around the chair, at her pale face, and his expression shifted to something that might have been sympathy. "You read them," he said. "You left them here on purpose." "Yes. You wanted me to know. I wanted you to have the choice to know." He stepped into the room. The guards outside didn't follow. "I can tell you the truth, or you can discover it yourself. Either way, you deserve answers." Mira stood on shaking legs. "Is it real? All of it? Every word? The Chin family tree? My name at the bottom? I had that researched 6 months ago. When I first heard rumors of a surviving Moonborn bloodline." 6 months. Myra's voice rose. "You've been planning this for 6 months? I've been trying to find you for 3 years." Dominic crossed to the window, keeping distance between them. "Since I learned what my pack needed to survive. You're not the first descendant I've tracked down. But you're the first one who was still alive when I found them." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. "The Shadow Collective," Mira said. "They kill Moonborn." "Yes." "Why?" "Because alphas like power they can control. Moonborn power can't be controlled. It can't be dominated or conquered or beaten into submission. So they eliminate it." His jaw tightened. "They've been hunting your bloodline for 23 years. Every time I got close to finding a descendant, the collective got there first. But not me. Not yet." Dominic turned to face her. "Your family hid you well. Kept you powerless, kept you invisible. No one looks twice at a wolfless shifter. It was actually brilliant." "They didn't hide me to protect me," Mira said slowly, realization dawning. "They hid me to protect themselves. If anyone knew what I was, it would put the whole pack in danger." "Yes. So they made me believe I was broken. Made me feel worthless. My whole life," her voice cracked. "My whole life was a lie." Dominic moved closer. Not touching, but near enough that she could feel the heat from his body. "Not worthless. Never worthless. Dormant. There's a difference. You keep saying that. Dormant. What does it mean?" "It means your wolf is there, Mira. It's always been there. But it's sleeping. Waiting. Like a seed that needs the right conditions to grow." He gestured to the books. "Did you read about the awakening rituals?" "Yes." Mira wrapped her arms around herself. "It said an uncontrolled shift could kill me. It would kill you. Your power is too great to emerge without structure. That's why I brought you here. My pack has elders who remember the old ways. We can guide your awakening, keep you safe through the transition." "In exchange for what? Breaking your curse?" His silence was answer enough. "You said you needed me," Mira continued. "That your pack is dying. Tell me the truth. All of it." Dominic exhaled slowly. 75 years ago, my great-grandfather betrayed a Moonborn family. Sold them to hunters for territory and gold. Before they died, the Moonborn matriarch cursed his bloodline. Each generation, our wolves grow weaker. Our children are born with fainter connections to their wolves. Some never shift at all. Like me. No. Not like you. They're truly broken. You're just sleeping. He ran a hand through his hair. I have 53 pack members. 20 of them are children who may never know their wolves. In 2 generations, my pack will be fully human. Everything we are, everything we've built, gone. And moonborn blood magic can break the curse. It's the only thing that can. Dominic met her eyes. I need you, Mira. But I won't force you. The choice is yours. Help me save my pack, or I'll protect you anyway and watch my people fade into nothing. The weight of it pressed down on her. 53 people. Children who would never shift. A pack dying because of a choice made before they were born. What would I have to do? Mira asked quietly. Go through the awakening ritual. Let your wolf emerge properly. Then work with our healers to perform the counter curse. It would take. The explosion cut him off. The blast shook the entire house, throwing Mira to her knees. Glass shattered. Alarms screamed. Outside, voices shouted and gunfire erupted. Dominic's eyes flashed silver. They found us. Who? The Shadow Collective. He was already moving, pulling her to her feet. Stay behind me. Another explosion, closer this time. The windows blew inward and Mira threw her arms up to shield her face. Dominic positioned himself between her and the door as it burst open. Not guards. 3 men she didn't recognize, armed and moving with predatory speed. Dominic shifted. One moment he was human. The next, a massive black wolf stood where he'd been, easily twice the size of a normal shifter. His growl rattled the windows. The attackers hesitated. Just for a second. It was enough. Dominic tore into them with savage efficiency. Blood sprayed. Someone screamed. Mira backed against the wall, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. And then, pain. Searing, white-hot pain centered in her chest. Mira gasped, doubling over. It felt like something was trying to claw its way out from inside her. Her wolf. After 24 years of silence, her wolf was waking up. No, she heard Dominic snarl, human again, grabbing her shoulders. Not like this. Not now. But the pain was spreading, burning through her veins like liquid fire. Her bones felt wrong, her skin too tight. Something was coming, something huge and powerful and completely beyond her control. Mira screamed. More attackers poured through the door. Garrett appeared, shifted and fighting. The room descended into chaos, snarls and blood and breaking furniture. And through it all, that burning in her chest, growing stronger, more insistent. Mira, look at me. Dominic's hands framed her face. His silver eyes blazed. You have to fight it. If you shift now without preparation, the power will kill you. Do you understand? It will tear you apart from the inside. I can't, the words came out strangled. I can't stop it. Yes, you can. Focus on my voice. Focus on. An attacker lunged. Dominic spun, shifted, took the man down in one fluid motion. And Mira, left alone for just a moment, felt her control slip. The wolf surged forward. Silver light exploded from her skin. And everything went white. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 4. The silver burned like acid. Mira screamed as Dominic lowered her onto the metal floor of the chamber, her skin blistering where it touched the silvered surface. Every nerve ending fired at once, pain so intense her vision went white. But the wolf retreated. She felt it pull back, that massive presence that had been clawing its way to the surface. The silver repelled it, forced it down, locked it away behind walls she didn't know she had. I'm sorry. Dominic's voice seemed to come from far away. I'm so sorry, but this is the only way. Above them, the battle still raged. Snarls and gunfire and the crash of breaking furniture. Someone howled, a sound of pain or triumph, Mira couldn't tell. Stay with me. Dominic's hands hovered over her, not touching, as if he wanted to help but knew contact would only make it worse. The silver will suppress the shift. Your body will adapt in a few minutes. It hurts, Mira gasped. Her skin felt like it was on fire. I know. I know it does. The door above them crashed open. Garrett's voice called down, we've got one alive. The others are dead or fled. Dominic's expression went cold. Good. Secure him. I'll be up in 5 minutes. Dom, they knew exactly where to hit. Someone gave them the layout. I know. Dominic looked back at Mira. Can you breathe? She could, barely. The burning was fading to a more manageable agony, like the worst sunburn of her life covering every inch of skin. Yes. The silver will keep you safe. Your wolf can't emerge while you're in contact with it. He stood. I'm leaving 2 guards outside the door. Don't try to leave the chamber. If the silver contact breaks and your wolf surges again, I'll die. I know. Mira pressed her cheek against the cool metal, accepting the burn. You're going to interrogate the prisoner. Yes. Will you kill him? Dominic's silver eyes went flat. That depends on what he tells me. He left, and Mira was alone. The chamber was small, maybe 8 feet square, walls and floor lined with silver plating. A single light overhead cast everything in harsh white. No windows, no furniture, nothing but metal and pain. Mira closed her eyes and tried to breathe through the burning. Slowly, minute by minute, her body adjusted. The pain dulled to a constant ache. She could think again, could focus on something other than the agony. And then she started hearing things. Footsteps 3 floors above. Voices speaking in low tones. The slide of metal on metal as someone checked their weapon. Her hearing had changed. Enhanced. She could pick out individual sounds from the chaos, separate and identify them with crystal clarity. Garrett's voice, somewhere on the main floor, sweep complete. Perimeters secure. We lost Marcus and Jen. Another voice, unfamiliar, bodies? Already moved. We'll handle the burial rites at dawn. 2 dead. Because of her. Because the Shadow Collective wanted her badly enough to attack a fortified compound. Mira pressed harder against the silver floor, welcoming the pain. It gave her something to focus on besides the guilt. More voices. Someone giving orders about defensive positions, about medical supplies, about cleaning up the blood before it stained the wood floors. And then, Dominic's voice, sharp and cold. Bring him to the north room. And get me the kit. The kit. Myra's stomach turned. She shouldn't listen. Whatever was about to happen, she didn't need to hear it. But she couldn't help herself. Her new hearing zeroed in on Dominic's voice like a compass finding north, and she followed it through the walls and floors to wherever he was. A door closing. Chains rattling. A man's breathing, fast and shallow with fear. I'm going to ask you questions, Dominic said, voice devoid of emotion. How you answer determines how much pain you'll experience before you die. And you will die. That part isn't negotiable. I don't know anything. The prisoner's voice was rough, defiant. I'm just hired muscle. You're Shadow Collective. You don't hire out. A pause. Let's start with something easy. How did you find this location? Go to hell. The sound that followed made Mira flinch. A wet crack, then a scream that cut off abruptly. That was your kneecap, Dominic said calmly. You have 3 other limbs. How did you find this location? You're insane. Another crack. Another scream. Mira covered her ears, but it didn't help. The sounds came through anyway, as clear as if she were in the room. She heard every blow, every scream, every methodical question followed by pain when the answers weren't forthcoming. This was the Alpha King. Not the man who'd danced with her in the ballroom. Not the person who'd carried her gently to this silver chamber. This was the predator, the killer, the darkness that allowed him to rule the Northern Territories without challenge. "Last chance," Dominic said. His voice hadn't changed, still flat, still empty. "Tell me who sold us out." The prisoner laughed, choked and wet. "You really don't know? Your precious Moonborn isn't the only one with secrets." "Explain." "The Chen family. They've been working with us for months. Feeding information, setting up the trap. They knew exactly what she was, and they knew exactly how to use her." Myra's breath stopped. "Impossible," Dominic said. "They've been hiding her for 24 years. "Sure. Until we made them an offer they couldn't refuse. $2 million for the Moonborn's exact location and schedule. The wedding was perfect, public, crowded, easy to blend in. We would have had her if you hadn't shown up." "Someone in the Chen family sold their own daughter?" "Not someone." The prisoner coughed. "Blood, from the sound of it. The sister. Vivian Chen. She made contact 6 months ago. Said she'd deliver the Moonborn gift wrapped if we gave her what she wanted." "Which was?" "The harvest ritual. She wants the Moonborn's power transferred to her once the wolf emerges. Thinks it'll make her the strongest alpha in the territories." Silence. Long and terrible. Then Dominic spoke, and his voice had gone from empty to deadly. "Where is Vivian now?" "I don't." The sound of breaking bone echoed through Myra's enhanced hearing. The prisoner screamed. "Where is Vivian now?" "Here." The word came out strangled. "She's here. She's in the compound. She followed us in during the attack. She's..." The prisoner never finished. Mira heard the snap of his neck, quick and final. Then Dominic's voice, sharp with command, "Garrett. Find Vivian Chen. She's in the building. I want her alive." Footsteps running. Orders being shouted. And Mira, alone in her silver chamber, processed what she'd just heard. Vivian. Her perfect sister. The golden child who could do no wrong. Vivian had sold her to the Shadow Collective. The betrayal cut deeper than any physical pain. Mira had spent her whole life in Vivian's shadow, believing she deserved to be there because Vivian was simply better. Stronger, prettier, more worthy of love and attention. But Vivian hadn't been better. She'd been jealous. Jealous enough to commit murder. Mira tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't cooperate. The silver had drained too much strength. She focused on her hearing instead, tracking the search through the building. Garrett's voice, "East wing clear." Another guard, "Nothing in the garage." More voices, more locations. They were tearing the compound apart looking for her sister. And then Mira caught something. A scent, faint but familiar, drifting through the ventilation system. Jasmine and vanilla. Vivian's signature perfume. Close. Too close. "She's near the basement," Mira tried to shout, but her voice came out as a croak. "She's coming." The chamber door opened. Not from above, where the guards stood. From a second entrance Mira hadn't noticed, hidden in the wall. A maintenance access, probably, or an emergency exit. And standing in the doorway, backlit by fluorescent lights, was Vivian. She looked perfect, as always. Her wedding reception dress was gone, replaced by tactical gear that somehow still managed to look elegant. Her hair was pulled back, her makeup intact. Not a scratch on her. Behind her stood 3 men, Shadow Collective members, weapons drawn. "Hello, little sister," Vivian said, and her smile was all teeth and no warmth. Did you really think I'd let you steal my spotlight forever? Mira tried to push herself up, but the silver sapped her strength. The guards are upstairs, exactly where I need them. Vivian stepped into the chamber, careful not to touch the silver walls. I know this building's layout better than they do. I've been feeding the collective information for 6 months. Every entrance, every weak point, every security measure. Why? The word came out broken. Why would you? Why? Vivian's perfect mask cracked, showing the rage beneath. Because I've lived my entire life knowing the truth about you. Knowing what you were. Mom and Dad whispered about it when they thought I couldn't hear. The precious moonborn daughter. The special one. The one with the ancient power sleeping inside her. She crouched just outside the silver's reach, eyes blazing. Do you know what it's like? Being the normal one? The regular shifter with the regular wolf while everyone tiptoes around you, protecting you, hiding you, treating you like you're made of glass? They ignored me, Mira said. They made me feel worthless. They made you invisible to protect you. To keep you safe from people who wanted to use you. And I got to stand there and smile and be perfect while knowing I'd always be second best to my broken little sister. Vivian's voice rose. The wedding was supposed to be my day. My moment. And then he showed up. Dominic. The great Alpha King, walking past everyone, past me, to claim you. Making you the center of attention. Again. Vivian stood. Well, not anymore. She gestured to her companions. Grab her. The silver, one of them said. If we break contact. Then her wolf emerges uncontrolled and she dies. I know. Vivian's smile returned, cold and calculating. But she won't die. I've studied the rituals. The Shadow Collective promised me I could harvest your power once you shifted. They have mages who know the old magic, the blood rites. Harvest? Horror crept through Myra's exhaustion. Transfer your moonborn strength to me. Imagine it, the legendary bloodline combined with my already perfect genetics. I'll be unstoppable. The strongest alpha the territories have ever seen. Vivian's eyes glittered with ambition and madness. And you'll finally serve a purpose. You'll make me everything I was always meant to be. The men moved forward, reaching for Mira. She tried to fight, but the silver had left her weak. Strong hands grabbed her arms, lifted her from the chamber floor. The moment she left the silver's contact, power surged through her body. Her wolf lunged for the surface, massive and furious and completely beyond control. Silver light exploded from Myra's skin. The men holding her screamed and dropped her, their hands burned by the raw energy pouring from her. No. Vivian backed away. Not yet. You're supposed to shift during the ritual. But the wolf wasn't listening. It was awake, and it was angry, and it was tired of being caged. Mira felt her bones beginning to break and reform. The pain was beyond anything the silver had caused. Every cell in her body was changing, too fast, too violently. She was going to die. Just like Dominic had warned. And through the agony, through the chaos of her body tearing itself apart, Mira heard footsteps pounding down the stairs. Dominic's roar shook the walls. Get away from her. But Vivian was already gone, vanishing back through the hidden door with her guards. The metal door slammed shut, locks engaging. Dominic crashed into the chamber and grabbed Mira, pulling her back onto the silver floor. The contact burned, but the wolf retreated, forced down by the metal's repellent power. Mira collapsed against him, her body still twitching with aborted transformation. She could feel Dominic's heart racing, his arms locked around her despite the silver burning them both. I've got you, he said. I've got you. But they both knew the truth. Vivian was out there. The Shadow Collective had found them. And the next time Myra's wolf tried to emerge, it might kill her before anyone could stop it. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 5. They dragged Mira through corridors she didn't recognize, away from the silver chamber, away from safety. Two Shadow Collective members held her arms while Vivian led the way, moving with the confidence of someone who knew exactly where she was going. The pain returned immediately. Without the silver suppression, Myra's wolf surged forward, clawing at her from the inside. Her bones felt like they were splintering, her skin stretched too tight over a body that wanted to change. "Where's Dominic?" Mira gasped. "Dealing with the distraction, we left upstairs." Vivian glanced back, her perfect face calm. "Don't worry. We have at least 10 minutes before he realizes you're gone." They descended another staircase, this one older, rougher. The walls changed from finished drywall to raw stone. A sub-basement, maybe. Somewhere that hadn't been part of the original house. "You planned this," Mira said. "All of it?" "Of course I did. I've been planning this for months." Vivian pushed open a heavy door. "Since I first made contact with the Shadow Collective. Since I learned what you really were and what I could become." The room beyond was circular, carved from bedrock. Symbols covered the walls, old magic, the kind that made Myra's skin crawl. In the center, someone had drawn a massive ritual circle in what looked like silver paint. 3 more Shadow Collective members waited inside. One of them, older, with gray at his temples and scars mapping his face, held a leather-bound book. A mage, Mira realized. Someone who knew the old ways. "Put her in the center," Vivian ordered. They threw Mira down hard. She hit the stone floor and the air burst from her lungs. When she tried to stand, one of the men kicked her back down. "Stay," he said, like she was an animal. Vivian walked the perimeter of the circle, checking the symbols with a critical eye. "You know what I hated most," she said conversationally. "It wasn't that you were special. It was that everyone knew and nobody told you. Mom and Dad whispered about it when they thought I couldn't hear. About the Moonborn bloodline. About how careful they had to be with you." She knelt beside one of the symbols, correcting a line with her finger. "They monitored everything. Your diet, your activities, who you spent time with. Making sure you stayed weak, stayed hidden, stayed safe. Do you know how much effort went into keeping you invisible?" "They told me I was broken," Mira said. Her wolf was getting stronger, pushing harder. She could feel it pressing against her ribcage like something trying to break free. "Because that's what kept you alive. If you'd known the truth, if you'd tried to find your wolf, the Shadow Collective would have sensed it. Would have found you." Vivian stood, brushing off her hands. "But I didn't get protection. I got expectations. Be perfect, Vivian. Be strong, Vivian. Make the pack proud. All while knowing I'd always be second best to my broken little sister." The mage approached, his book open to a page covered in dense text. "The circle is ready. But if we force the shift now, the Moonborn might die before the harvest can begin." "She won't die." Vivian's smile was cold. "She's too stubborn for that. Aren't you, Mira?" Mira tried to focus past the pain. "You poisoned them against me. Mom, Dad, everyone. You made them ignore me. I helped them do what they were already inclined to do. A word here, a comment there. It wasn't hard." Vivian circled the ritual space. "You made it easy, actually. So quiet, so compliant. Never fighting back. Never demanding attention. You let yourself be invisible. Because I thought I deserved it. And that made you weak. Perfect for what comes next." Vivian nodded to the mage. "Begin the ritual." The mage started chanting in a language Mira didn't recognize. The symbols on the walls began to glow with sickly green light. The air pressure changed, making Myra's ears pop. "What are you doing?" she asked, though she already knew. "Forcing your first shift. The ritual will tear your wolf to the surface whether you're ready or not." Vivian's eyes gleamed. "And once you've shifted, once that beautiful Moonborn power is manifested and vulnerable, we'll perform the harvest." Harvest, Mira repeated. The word tasted like ash. A blood ritual. Very old, very dark. It transfers power from one shifter to another. The donor has to be alive for it to work, conscious, feeling everything as their wolf is ripped away and given to someone else. Vivian leaned closer. And then you die. Slowly. While I become what I was always meant to be. The chanting grew louder. The circle's glow intensified. Mira felt invisible hooks digging into her chest, pulling at her wolf, trying to drag it forward. She fought it. Pushed back against the magic with everything she had. Don't fight, the mage said. His voice echoed strangely. Fighting makes it worse. But Mira didn't care if it was worse. She wouldn't give Vivian the satisfaction. Wouldn't let her sister win. The pain escalated. It felt like her body was being torn in two. The wolf wanted out, the magic demanded it, and Mira's human mind screamed in protest. You can't stop it, Vivian said. The ritual is too strong. Your wolf will emerge, and then you'll die, and I'll finally step out of your shadow. Mira looked up at her sister, this person she'd spent her whole life trying to please, trying to measure up to, and saw the truth in Vivian's eyes. Not jealousy. Not even ambition. Madness. Vivian had let the hunger for power consume everything human about her. She wasn't Myra's sister anymore. She was a monster wearing a familiar face. The realization shifted something inside Mira. A clarity cutting through the pain. She'd spent 24 years fighting her wolf, believing she was broken. But what if that was the problem? What if she needed to stop fighting? The ritual pulled harder. Mira made a choice. She reached for her wolf. Not pushing it away, not trying to control it. Just accepting it. Opening herself to the power that had always been there, sleeping and waiting and ready. The wolf responded immediately. Silver light exploded from Myra's skin, so bright it bleached the color from everything. The ritual circle shattered, symbols burning away as if they'd never existed. The mage was thrown backward, his book flying from his hands. And Myra's body began to change. The basement wall exploded inward. Dominic burst through in his massive black wolf form, Garrett and 5 warriors behind him. They tore into the Shadow Collective members with savage efficiency. But Mira barely noticed. She was too focused on what was happening to her body. Bones breaking and reforming. Muscles tearing and rebuilding. Skin splitting to make way for fur. The pain was absolute, consuming, but Mira didn't fight it. She let it happen. Let herself become what she'd always been meant to be. Her wolf emerged. Massive. Easily twice the size of Dominic's wolf, maybe larger. Pure white fur that seemed to glow with its own light. And when she opened her eyes, they blazed with molten gold. The entire room went still. Every wolf, Shadow Collective and Northern Territory alike, dropped to their bellies in submission. Even Dominic, even Garrett. The moonborn power radiating from Mira was too much, too primal. Every instinct in them recognized something greater than themselves. Vivian stood frozen, her face gone pale. No. You weren't supposed to. Myra's wolf snarled, and the sound rattled the stone walls. She didn't recognize anyone. Not Dominic, not Garrett, not even Vivian. Her newly awakened mind saw only threats and prey and violence. She lunged at the nearest Shadow Collective member. One swipe of her massive paw and he was down, not moving. Another tried to run and she was on him in seconds, teeth finding his throat. Mira. Dominic's voice, human again. He'd shifted back, standing slowly with his hands raised. Mira, stop. You're safe now. I've got you. She turned toward him, this unfamiliar man with the silver eyes. Her lips pulled back from teeth that could tear him apart. That's it. Look at me. He took a step closer. Insane. Suicidal. I know you're in there. I know you can hear me. Myra's wolf growled, a sound that came from deep in her chest. Your name is Mira Chen. You're a Moonborn. You're safe here. Another step. He was close enough now that she could smell him, pine and smoke and something wild. I won't let anyone hurt you. I promised, remember? Something flickered in Myra's gold eyes. Recognition, maybe. Or just awareness of something familiar. That's right. Come back to me. Dominic's voice was steady, calm, like he was talking to a spooked horse. You're not alone. You don't have to be afraid. Myra's wolf took a step toward him. Then another. The violence in her was fading, replaced by confusion. Who was this man who didn't submit? Who stood before her without fear? She was close enough to touch when Vivian moved. Mira caught the flash of silver in her peripheral vision, a blade, long and wickedly curved, coated with something dark. Wolfsbane. The poison was lethal to newly shifted wolves, doubly so to Moonborn. Vivian drove the blade toward Myra's exposed flank. Dominic threw himself between them. The blade sank into his shoulder to the hilt. Dominic's body went rigid, silver eyes going wide. The wolfsbane spread fast, black veins racing from the wound, poison pumping through his system with every heartbeat. He collapsed to his knees, then to his side. His breathing was already labored. Vivian stood over him, the bloody blade still in her hand, and smiled. One alpha down. She looked at Mira, who stood frozen, her wolf mind struggling to process what had just happened. Now, little sister, let's finish what we started. Garrett roared and lunged, but two Shadow Collective members intercepted him. The room erupted into violence again, wolves fighting, blood spraying, the sound of snarls and breaking bone. And Mira, still in her massive white wolf form, stared down at Dominic's still body. He'd saved her. Taken a killing blow meant for her. This man she barely knew had thrown away his life to protect hers. Something snapped into place in her chest. A bond, glowing and golden and absolutely certain. Mate. The word echoed through her wolf mind with the weight of absolute truth. This was her mate. And he was dying. Myra's wolf threw back her head and howled, a sound of rage and grief and promise. The windows shattered from the force of it. The walls cracked. When she looked at Vivian, her gold eyes burned with something beyond animal fury. This was vengeance. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 6. The mate bond blazed to life like a star-going supernova. Mira felt it snap into place, a golden thread connecting her heart to Dominic's, so visceral it was like gaining a new sense. She could feel his pain, his fading heartbeat, the poison spreading through his veins like ice. He was dying. And something in Mira broke open. Her moonborn power erupted outward in a wave that shook the entire building. The raw force of it knocked everyone off their feet, wolves and humans alike. The light pouring from her body went from silver to blinding white, so bright that people had to shield their eyes. And suddenly, impossibly, Mira had control. Her wolf mind sharpened, merged with her human consciousness. She was both and neither, something new, something the world hadn't seen in generations. She turned toward Vivian. Her sister stood frozen, the bloodied blade still in her hand, comprehension and fear warring on her perfect face. Mira attacked. She moved faster than thought, her massive white wolf form a blur of fur and fury. Vivian had 1 second to react before Myra's jaws closed around her arm, the one holding the blade. Vivian screamed and dropped the weapon. She shifted desperately. Her wolf was beautiful, sleek and golden brown, but it was nothing compared to Myra's size. Mira threw her sister across the room. Vivian hit the stone wall hard enough to crack it, slid to the floor. She scrambled up, snarling, and charged. The fight was over in seconds. Mira was bigger, stronger, powered by moonborn magic and mate bond fury. Every move Vivian made, Mira countered before it even landed. She pinned her sister to the ground with one massive paw on her throat, applied just enough pressure to make breathing difficult. Vivian's wolf eyes went wide with terror. Around them, Garrett and the Northern Territory warriors were finishing the job. The remaining Shadow Collective members either died or surrendered. The sounds of battle faded to groans and the drip of blood on stone. Mira wanted to end it. Wanted to close her jaws around Vivian's throat and feel her life drain away. The wolf in her demanded it. This threat had hurt her mate, had tried to kill them both. But Dominic's heartbeat was growing fainter. Mira released Vivian and spun toward where Dominic lay. Her mate. Her responsibility. Everything else could wait. She forced the shift back to human. The transformation in reverse was agony, bones breaking and resetting, muscles shrinking, fur receding into skin. Mira screamed through it, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Dominic needed her. When it was done, she collapsed on the cold stone floor, naked and shaking and completely drained. Someone threw a blanket over her, Garrett, probably. She grabbed it with trembling hands and crawled toward Dominic. He was convulsing. The black veins from the wolfsbane wound had spread across his chest, climbing toward his heart. His breathing came in shallow gasps, his silver eyes unfocused. "No," Mira whispered. She pressed her hands to his face. "No, you don't get to die. Not after throwing yourself in front of a blade for me. Not after." The mate bond pulsed between them. Through it, she felt everything, his pain, his fading strength, his body losing the fight against the poison. His life force was dimming like a candle burning down to nothing. "Move aside." An older woman pushed through the crowd, gray-haired, carrying a medical bag. The pack healer. She knelt beside Dominic, checked his pulse, examined the wound. Her expression went grim. "It's too late. This is a fatal strain of wolfsbane. Military grade. His heart will stop in minutes." "Fix it," Mira demanded. "I can't. No one can. This poison was designed to kill alphas. There's no antidote." "Then make one." The healer's eyes were kind but firm. "Child, I'm sorry. All we can do is make him comfortable." "No." Mira looked down at Dominic, at his face going pale, at the black veins spreading. The mate bond was screaming at her, begging her to do something, anything. "No, I won't accept that." She remembered the books. The ancient texts about moonborn gifts. One passage in particular, underlined 3 times, "Moonborn blood can heal any wound, break any curse." Mira didn't hesitate. She grabbed the silver blade Vivian had dropped, still coated with Dominic's blood and wolfsbane, and dragged it across her palm. Pain flared, but she ignored it. Blood welled up, bright red and glowing faintly with that same silver light. "What are you doing?" the healer asked. Mira pressed her bleeding palm directly to Dominic's wound. The effect was immediate. Silver light flowed from her hand into his body, spreading through him like liquid moonlight. Wherever it touched the black poison veins, they dissolved. The wolfsbane was powerful, but moonborn blood magic was older, stronger, absolute. Dominic gasped, his back arching. His eyes flew open, silver blazing with returned awareness. And Mira felt the magic drain from her like water from a cracked vessel. Her vision went gray at the edges. Her strength left her all at once. She collapsed beside Dominic, barely conscious, the mate bond still pulsing between them but fainter now, muted by her exhaustion. The last thing she heard was Garrett's voice, "Get them both to the medical wing. Now." Mira woke to soft sheets and the smell of pine. She opened her eyes slowly, her body heavy and unresponsive. She was in a bedroom, large, masculine, dominated by a massive bed she was currently lying in. Windows showed late afternoon light filtering through trees. "You're awake." Mira turned her head. Dominic sat in a chair beside the bed, fully dressed, no sign of the wound that should have killed him. His silver eyes watched her with an intensity that made her breath catch. "You healed me," he said quietly. The healer said it was impossible, but you did it anyway. Moonborn blood magic. Myra's voice was rough. It was in one of the books. You nearly died. The healer said you pushed yourself past safe limits. Your heart stopped twice. But I didn't die. No. You didn't. Dominic leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Why did you do it? You barely know me. The question hung in the air between them. Mira thought about lying, about deflecting, but the mate bond made pretense impossible. She could feel his emotions through it, concern, guilt, and something deeper, warmer. The mate bond, she said. I felt it snap into place when you fell. I knew what you were to me. I felt it the moment I saw you. Dominic's voice was rough. At that wedding. I walked into the ballroom and the bond hit me like a freight train. That's why I claimed you publicly, to mark you as mine before anyone else could stake a claim. You never said anything. How could I? You didn't know me. Didn't trust me. If I'd told you we were fated mates, you would have thought it was another manipulation. Another alpha using you for what you could give him. He rubbed his face. I was trying to protect you. But I was also being selfish. I wanted you. Not just your power, not just what you could do for my pack. You. Myra's heart did something complicated in her chest. Dominic. I'm falling in love with you, Mira. He said it simply, like stating a fact. Maybe I already have. I know it's too fast, I know you don't feel the same way. But you saved my life tonight, and you deserve honesty. You're my fated mate. And I will spend the rest of my life protecting you, whether you choose me or not. Before Mira could respond, the door burst open. Garrett stood in the doorway, his expression grim. We have a problem. Dominic was on his feet instantly. What happened? Vivian escaped. During the chaos after you both collapsed, she slipped away. We tracked her to the northern border, but she crossed into neutral territory. We lost her trail. Where is she now? Mira asked, sitting up. Her body protested, but she ignored it. Shadow Collective headquarters. We have sources who confirmed she arrived an hour ago. Garrett's jaw tightened. She's rallying their forces for a full assault on our territory. They're talking about coming at us with everything they have. How many? Dominic asked. 50, maybe 60 warriors. Plus mages, weapons, the works. They'll hit us in 48 hours, maybe less. Myra's stomach sank. This is because of me. This is because they're fanatics who can't accept that moonborn bloodlines still exist, Dominic corrected. They would have found an excuse eventually. There's something else. Garrett looked at Mira. During the ritual in the basement, before we breached the wall, Vivian took samples of your blood. Multiple vials. Our people found the setup she used. Professional extraction equipment. What does that mean? Mira asked, though dread was already curling in her stomach. It means they have enough moonborn blood to attempt synthesis, Dominic said flatly. They'll try to create artificial moonborn wolves. That's impossible. So was healing me from fatal wolfsbane poisoning. But you did it. Dominic paced to the window. If they succeed, if they create even one synthetic moonborn, the balance of power in the territories will collapse. Every pack will want one. Wars will break out. Thousands will die. Then we stop them, Mira said. We attack before they can complete the ritual. The Shadow Collective headquarters is protected by ancient magic, Garrett said. Ward spells that repel any wolf that tries to breach them. We've tried before. Lost good people. What kind of wards? The kind that only a moonborn can break. Understanding hit Mira like cold water. You need me to go there. Absolutely not, Dominic said immediately. It's too dangerous. They want you more than anything. Walking into their stronghold would be suicide. But I'm the only one who can breach their defenses. I don't care. I won't risk you. A phone buzzed. Garrett pulled it from his pocket, frowned at the screen. We have an incoming call. Encrypted. Unknown source. Put it on screen, Dominic ordered. Garrett tapped something and a video feed appeared on the wall-mounted television. The image resolved into a familiar face. Vivian. She looked immaculate despite everything, hair perfect, makeup fresh, wearing designer clothes that probably cost more than Myra's car. She sat in an expensive leather chair, and behind her stood armed guards. But what made Myra's heart stop were the two figures bound to chairs beside her sister. Their parents. Hello, little sister, Vivian said, her smile cold and perfect. I hope you're enjoying your new life as the Alpha King's pet Moonborn. Let them go, Mira said. This is between us. Oh, but they're part of this. They spent 24 years hiding you, protecting you, lying to everyone about what you were. They chose you over me every single day. Vivian's mask slipped, showing the madness beneath. So they get to watch while I take everything from you. What do you want? Come to the Shadow Collective headquarters. Alone. No Dominic, no warriors, no backup. Just you, surrendering yourself to us. Vivian leaned forward. You have 24 hours. If you're not here by then, I'll kill them. Slowly. And I'll make sure you can hear every scream. The video cut out. Silence filled the room. Heavy and terrible. You're not going, Dominic said. We'll find another way. But Mira was already standing, ignoring her body's protests. They're my parents. They're the people who made you invisible for your entire life. They were protecting me. You said so yourself. Mira looked at Dominic, at this man who'd thrown himself in front of a poison blade for her. I have to go. Then I'm going with you. She said alone. I don't care what she said. You're my mate. Where you go, I go. The mate bond pulsed between them, his determination, her fear, both of their desperate need to protect the other. Garrett cleared his throat. For what it's worth, the entire pack will follow her into hell if that's where she goes. Dominic's expression was torn between pride and terror. We have 24 hours to plan an assault on the most heavily fortified location in the territories. Myra's the only one who can breach the wards, which means she has to be in the strike team. And Vivian will be waiting for us. Then we'd better make sure we're ready, Mira said. She looked out the window at the Northern Territory forests, at the pack members moving below, preparing for war. 24 hours until she walked into the lion's den. 24 hours to save her parents, stop her sister, and prevent the creation of synthetic moonborn wolves that could destroy everything. And 24 hours to figure out if she was ready to die for people who'd spent her entire life making her feel like she didn't matter. The mate bond pulsed again. Dominic crossed the room and took her hand. Whatever happens, he said quietly, we face it together. Mira looked up at him, this Alpha King who'd claimed her in a ballroom, kidnapped her for her own protection, and thrown himself in front of a killing blow meant for her. Together, she agreed. But they both knew the truth. In 24 hours, one of them might not come back. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 7. I'm going. Like hell you are. They'd been arguing for an hour. Mira stood by the window in Dominic's study while he paced like a caged animal, Garrett standing silently near the door. They're my parents, Mira said again. I can't just leave them to die. Your parents spent 24 years making you invisible. Making you feel broken. Dominic's voice was harsh with frustration. And now you're willing to die for them? Yes. Mira turned to face him. Because that's what family does. Even when they fail you. Even when they hurt you. You protect them. That's not family. That's martyrdom. Says the man who threw himself in front of a poisoned blade for me. Mira crossed the room, stood directly in front of him. You want to talk about sacrifice? You were ready to die for someone you barely knew. That's different. Because you're my mate. The words came out raw, honest. I would burn the world down before I let anyone hurt you. The mate bond pulsed between them, carrying his fear and determination. Mira softened slightly. Then help me, she said quietly. Don't try to stop me. Help me do this right. Dominic closed his eyes, warring with himself. When he opened them again, resignation and resolve mixed in his silver gaze. We do this together, he said. You breach the wards, I bring the cavalry. We have one advantage, the mate bond. I can track you anywhere. Feel what you feel. If you're in danger, I'll know. Vivian said to come alone. Vivian is a psychopath who wants to harvest your power. I don't care what she said. Dominic pulled out a map, spread it on the desk. The Shadow Collective headquarters is here, abandoned industrial complex, 20 miles from neutral territory. 3 buildings, all warded. You'll enter through the main gate. We'll breach from the north and west simultaneously once you've broken the wards from inside. Garrett stepped forward. I've assembled an elite team. 20 of our best warriors. We'll move in fast and hard. Mira studied the map. How will I break the wards? The same way you healed me. Moonborn blood magic. Dominic pointed to marked locations. The ward anchors will be visible to you. They'll glow with the same signature as your power. Destroy them, and the wards fall. And then? Then we fight our way to you. Get your parents out. Destroy whatever sick experiments they're running with your blood. His jaw tightened. And end the Shadow Collective permanently. Mira looked at him. People will die. Your people. People are already dying. My pack is fading because of a curse. Moonborn are being hunted to extinction. This ends tonight, one way or another. Dominic took her hand. I need you to promise me something. What? If it comes down to a choice between saving your parents and saving yourself, you choose yourself. Promise me. Mira thought about lying. But the mate bond made deception impossible between them. I can't promise that, she said. Dominic's expression cracked with pain. Mira. But I promise I'll fight to come back to you. She squeezed his hand. I promise I'll do everything I can to survive. For you. For us. It wasn't the promise he wanted, but it was the only one she could give. When do we leave? She asked. Garrett checked his watch. 20 minutes. The team is gearing up now. Mira nodded. 20 minutes until she walked into hell. Dominic pulled her close, his arms wrapping around her like he could keep her safe through sheer force of will. The mate bond blazed between them, carrying everything words couldn't, his fear, his love, his absolute determination to bring her home. Come back to me, he whispered against her hair. I will, Mira said, and hoped it wasn't a lie. The Shadow Collective headquarters rose from the abandoned industrial grounds like a monument to decay. 3 massive buildings, concrete and rust, surrounded by chain-link fencing topped with razor wire. No lights visible, no signs of life. But Mira could feel the magic crawling over her skin, the wards, ancient and powerful, designed to repel any wolf that approached. Except her. She stood at the main gate alone, Dominic and his team a mile back, waiting for her signal through the mate bond. She wore tactical gear Garrett had provided, black, reinforced, with silver weapons she barely knew how to use. The gate opened before she could knock. A man stood there, middle-aged, scarred, with eyes that had seen too much violence. Mira Chen. You're expected. Come with me. She followed him through the compound. The wards pressed against her like invisible hands, but they didn't repel her. They recognized what she was, Moonborn, and let her pass. The interior was worse than the exterior. Flickering fluorescent lights, concrete hallways stained with things Mira didn't want to identify. And beneath it all, the smell of blood and fear and dark magic. They descended stairs into a subterranean level. The temperature dropped. The walls here were carved from bedrock, covered in the same ritual symbols Mira had seen in Dominic's safe house basement. The guard led her into a massive circular chamber. And there was Vivian. Her sister stood in the center of the space, beautiful and terrible in black combat gear. Behind her, Myra's parents were bound to chairs, gagged, their eyes wide with terror and something that might have been shame. Little sister. Vivian's smile was all teeth. I'm so glad you came. I was worried you might choose that alpha over your own blood. Let them go, Mira said. You have me. That's what you wanted. Not quite. Vivian gestured around the chamber. Let me show you what we've been working on. She led Mira to a doorway. Beyond it, a laboratory stretched, all gleaming equipment and containment cells. And inside those cells, Myra's stomach turned. Wolves. Or what used to be wolves. Their bodies were twisted, wrong, fur matted with blood and strange growths. Some had too many limbs. Others had exposed bone where skin should be. All of them paced their cages with mad, red eyes, snarling at nothing. Failed experiments, Vivian said conversationally. We've been trying to replicate Moonborn power using your blood. Mix it with other shifter bloodlines, see what happens. So far, the results have been disappointing. You're creating monsters. I'm creating evolution. The strong survive, the weak are culled. That's nature. Vivian walked past the cages, unbothered by the creature's snarls. But I realized something. We don't need to create synthetic Moonborn. We just need to take the power from an existing one. The harvest ritual. Exactly. But there's a problem. Vivian turned to face her. The ritual only works if the Moonborn is broken. Defeated. Proven inferior. Her smile widened. So I propose a trade. You fight me. Not as humans, as wolves. Ritual combat before the Shadow Collective leadership. Winner takes everything, power, status, the Moonborn legacy. Myra's heart sank. And if I refuse? Then I kill our parents right now. Slowly. While you watch. Vivian's mask slipped, showing the madness beneath. This was never about ransom, Mira. This is about proving once and for all that I'm better than you. That I always have been. You'll fight me, and you'll lose, and everyone will see that you were never special. Just lucky. Movement above drew Myra's attention. The circular chamber had galleries, raised platforms where people could watch what happened below. Shadow Collective members filed in, maybe 30 of them, all focusing on the fighting pit at the chamber's center. This was a trap. A spectacle. Vivian had orchestrated everything to lead to this moment. Your sister has trained with our best fighters for 6 months, a new voice said. A massive man emerged from the shadows, easily 7 feet tall, built like a mountain, with eyes that glowed amber. You shifted for the first time 3 days ago. The outcome of this fight is already decided. Constantine, Vivian said. Meet my dear sister. The Shadow Collective leader smiled. The last Moonborn. What an honor. Accept the challenge, Vivian said. Or watch them die. Mira looked at her parents. Her father was crying silently. Her mother stared at her with an expression Mira had never seen before, pride and regret and desperate love. The mate bond pulsed. Dominic was out there, feeling everything through their connection. His fury at the trap, his fear for her safety, his absolute conviction that she could win this. I accept, Mira said. Vivian's smile was triumphant. Then let's begin. They made her strip down and shift in the center of the pit while everyone watched. Myra's second transformation was easier than her first, but not by much. Bones broke and reformed, fur erupted from her skin, her senses expanded. When it was done, she stood as her massive white wolf, gold eyes blazing in the fluorescent light. The galleries filled with murmurs. Even the hardened Shadow Collective members looked impressed. Vivian shifted across from her, sleek, golden brown, smaller but faster. She'd clearly done this before. Constantine raised his hand. Ritual combat. To submission or death. Begin. Vivian lunged. She was fast, trained, vicious. Her teeth found Myra's shoulder, tore through fur and flesh. Mira roared and threw her off, but Vivian was already moving, darting in for another strike. The fight was brutal. Vivian used every dirty trick, going for eyes, hamstrings, vulnerable spots. Mira relied on raw power and instinct, but power didn't matter if she couldn't land a hit. Blood stained the concrete. Both sisters were bleeding, exhausted, but neither would submit. You were always the favorite, Vivian snarled, circling. Even broken, even wolfless. They protected you. Coddled you. Loved you more than me. Mira growled, searching for an opening. I was perfect. Vivian's voice rose to a shriek. I did everything right. And it was never enough because you existed. She lunged again, teeth aimed for Myra's throat. Now I'll erase you completely. Mira caught her mid-leap, using her size advantage to slam Vivian into the ground. But Vivian twisted, claws raking across Myra's exposed belly. They broke apart, both panting. Myra's vision swam. She was losing blood, losing strength. Vivian was trained for this. Mira was running on instinct and desperation. The mate bond pulsed, Dominic's presence, distant but steady. A lifeline. And through that bond, something clicked. Myra's moonborn instincts awakened fully. She realized her power wasn't just physical strength. It was the ability to sense connections, pack bonds, mate bonds, blood bonds. She reached out with that sense and felt Vivian's bond to Marcus. Her sister's alpha mate. Except it wasn't natural. It was twisted, corrupted, wrapped in dark magic that pulsed with sickly green light. Vivian had sold her soul to the Shadow Collective, traded her humanity for power. And Mira could sever it. Vivian charged again. Mira didn't dodge. She met the attack head-on, and as their bodies collided, she reached for that corrupted bond with her moonborn power. And tore it apart. Vivian's scream split the air. She collapsed mid-shift, her body convulsing as the dark magic that had been sustaining her abilities recoiled. The bond's destruction tore through her like lightning, leaving burns across her skin. She lay on the concrete, human again, gasping and broken. The galleries went silent. Constantine stood slowly, his expression shifting from anticipation to cold calculation. Kill them. All of them. The Moonborn is too dangerous to control. Shadow Collective warriors poured into the pit. 20, 30, all shifting as they came. Mira backed toward her parents, preparing to fight, knowing she couldn't win. Then the walls exploded. Dominic crashed through in his massive black wolf form, Garrett and the Northern Territory warriors behind him. The wards had fallen, Mira had destroyed the anchors with her moonborn power without even realizing it. Chaos erupted. Wolves fighting, blood flying, snarls echoing off concrete walls. Constantine moved through it all like death incarnate. He grabbed Myra's mother, claws pressing against her throat hard enough to draw blood. Enough. His voice boomed. Everyone froze. Surrender your power to me, Moonborn, or I'll kill them one by one. Starting with her. Mira shifted back to human, standing naked and bleeding in the center of carnage. The mate bond blazed with Dominic's fury, but he couldn't move. Not without getting her mother killed. Let her go, Mira said. You want me? Fine. Take me. Just let them go. Mira, no, her father gasped from his chair. Constantine smiled. Finally. Some sense. Then Myra's father did something impossible. He broke free from his bonds, when had he loosened them, and shifted. For the first time in years, maybe decades, he became his wolf. Gray and scarred and smaller than he used to be, but still strong. He attacked Constantine with everything he had. Constantine released Myra's mother in surprise. The two wolves collided, teeth and claws tearing flesh. "Run," her father roared, his voice barely human. "Myra, run." Constantine's claws found her father's throat. Blood sprayed. Her father fell. And Myra's moonborn power exploded outward in a wave that shook the entire compound to its foundations. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 8. Her father's blood pooled on the concrete floor. Something inside Myra shattered, not broke, but transformed. Like a chrysalis splitting open to release what had always been waiting inside. Her moonborn power erupted. Not in a wave. Not in a surge. In an explosion that shook the entire compound, cracked the foundation, sent dust raining from the ceiling. Silver light poured from her body, so bright it bleached the color from everything, so pure it burned to look at directly. Myra shifted, but not into the white wolf she'd been before. This was something else. Something beyond. Her form was massive, 3 times the size of any normal wolf, made of silver light and primal fury. Her eyes blazed like twin suns. Power radiated from her invisible waves that made the air shimmer. This was a true moonborn. What her bloodline had been before they were hunted and hidden and diluted into nothing. Constantine stared, and for the first time, fear crossed his face. "Impossible," he breathed. Myra's roar split the air like thunder. She moved faster than thought, closing the distance between them in a heartbeat. Her jaws closed around Constantine's arm, the one that had killed her father, and she ripped it clean off. His scream echoed through the chamber. The Shadow Collective warriors attacked en masse. 20 wolves converging on her position, trying to bring her down through sheer numbers. It didn't work. Myra tore through them like they were made of paper. Each movement precise, devastating, fueled by grief and rage and the absolute certainty that these people had taken everything from her kind. They'd hunted Moonborn for 50 years. Killed families. Destroyed bloodlines. No more. She was vengeance made flesh, and she was beautiful and terrible, and nothing could stop her. Dominic fought beside her. The mate bond blazed between them, synchronizing their movements until they moved as one creature with 2 bodies. Where Myra struck, Dominic followed. Where he needed support, she was there. They were unstoppable. Garrett and the Northern Territory warriors pressed the advantage, driving the Shadow Collective forces back. But it was Myra who turned the tide. Every wolf that faced her either fled or fell. Through the chaos, Myra's moonborn senses picked up something, the failed experiments in their cages, driven mad by corrupted magic. They were suffering. Dying slowly in their prisons. She couldn't save her father. But she could save them. Myra broke from the fight and charged the laboratory. Her power shattered the cage doors like they were made of glass. The twisted wolves inside cowered, snarling, but she approached them anyway. She reached out with her moonborn magic, not to hurt, but to heal. Silver light flowed from her into each creature, finding the corrupted magic that had twisted them and burning it away. Their bodies convulsed, shifted, reformed. When it was done, they stood as normal wolves again. Scarred, traumatized, but whole. They looked at her with something like worship. "You're free," she told them. "All of you. You're free." A roar drew her attention back to the main chamber. Constantine was trying to escape, dragging his severed arm, leaving a trail of blood. His remaining warriors formed a protective wall around him. Myra stalked toward them, her massive moonborn form radiating death. The warriors backed away. Even loyalty had limits when faced with this. Constantine collapsed against the wall, breathing hard, amber eyes blazing with hatred and fear. "You can't kill me. I'm protected by the collective. By ancient laws. Your collective is finished." Myra's voice was layered, human and something else, resonating with power. "And your laws died with my father. I was following orders. The council decided. You led the genocide. For 50 years, you hunted my kind. Killed families. Children. Mira leaned close, her silver form towering over him. You stole an entire bloodline from the world. And you did it for what? Power? Fear? You were too dangerous. Your kind disrupts the natural order. Alphas can't maintain control when there are Moonborn who can break bonds, heal the dying, bend other wolves to their will. Constantine spat blood. We did what we had to do. You murdered innocents because you were afraid of being challenged. Myra's eyes blazed brighter. That ends today. Your collective is dismantled. Your warriors are scattered. And you'll answer for every life you took. Kill me then. Make me a martyr. Mira smiled, all teeth and no warmth. No. You'll stand trial before the Territorial Council. Every Alpha will hear what you've done. You'll spend the rest of your life in a silver cage, powerless and alone, thinking about the children you murdered. She turned away from him, done with his excuses. Garrett and his warriors would handle the rest. But there was still one more thing to resolve. Vivian. Her sister lay where she'd fallen, human and broken, stripped of the dark magic that had made her strong. She looked small now. Pathetic. The golden-brown wolf that had attacked Mira was gone, severed by Moonborn power. Their mother had broken free from her bonds and knelt beside Vivian, cradling her head. Tears streamed down her face. Please, her mother begged as Mira approached. Please don't kill her. She's still your sister. She's still my daughter. Mira shifted back to human. Someone, Garrett, threw her a blanket. She wrapped it around herself and looked down at Vivian. Her sister stared up at her with empty eyes. All the fight was gone. All the jealousy and ambition and madness had burned away, leaving only hollow awareness of what she'd lost. You wanted to be special so badly, Mira said quietly. Wanted to prove you were better than me. Superior. I was better, Vivian whispered. I am better. You were broken. No. I was sleeping. There's a difference. Mira crouched down. You could have been great, Vivian. You had everything, strength, intelligence, a loving mate. But you traded it all for power you didn't earn. And now you have nothing. So kill me. Finish it. No. Mira stood. You'll live. But you'll live without your wolf. Cast out from every pack. Powerless. Alone. Human. Horror dawned in Vivian's eyes. You can't. That's worse than death. I know. Mira reached out with her Moonborn power one last time, found the thread that connected Vivian to her wolf, and severed it completely. Permanently. Vivian screamed. The sound was agonizing, primal, the death of everything she'd ever been. When it faded, she lay gasping on the concrete, and something fundamental in her eyes had gone dark. Live with what you've done, Mira said. Live with what you've lost. And every day, remember that you did this to yourself. She walked away. Her mother called after her, pleading, but Mira didn't look back. Some bridges couldn't be rebuilt. 3 weeks later, Mira stood on a hillside overlooking the Northern Territory, watching the sunset paint the sky gold and crimson. Below, pack members moved through their evening routines. Not just Dominic's bloodline pack anymore. The failed experiments she'd freed had formed the core of something new, a pack of misfits and survivors who understood what it meant to be different. Her pack. Footsteps approached. Mira turned to find her father, leaning heavily on a cane. Constantine's attack had left him permanently weakened. His wolf was gone, sacrificed in those final moments. But he'd survived. Beautiful view, he said, stopping beside her. It is. They stood in silence for a moment. Then her father spoke, his voice rough with emotion. I owe you an apology. Several, actually. You don't. Let me finish. He turned to face her. I failed you, Mira. From the day you were born, I knew what you were. What you could become. And instead of preparing you, helping you understand your gift, I hid you. Made you feel broken. Kept you small because I thought that would keep you safe. Tears tracked down his weathered face. I thought if no one noticed you, if you believed you were powerless, the Shadow Collective would never find you. I was so focused on keeping you alive that I forgot you needed to live. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Myra's throat tightened. You saved Mom. In that chamber. You sacrificed yourself. It was the least I could do. The very least, after 24 years of failing you. He took her hand. Look at you now. The first Moonborn Alpha in 50 years. Leading your own pack. Mated to an Alpha King. You're everything I should have raised you to be, and you did it despite me, not because of me. You were protecting me the only way you knew how. It was the wrong way. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to you. He squeezed her hand. I'm proud of you, Mira. I should have said that every day of your life. I'm proud of who you've become. The words she'd waited her whole life to hear. Mira hugged him, and he held her like she was precious, like she mattered, like she always should have. When they separated, her mother was waiting at a respectful distance. Her expression was cautious, uncertain. I won't ask forgiveness, her mother said. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know, I see you now. I see what I did, how I favored Vivian, how I let my fear poison our family. I was wrong. About everything. Mira nodded. It's going to take time. I know. I'll wait. However long it takes. Her mother's voice broke. You're extraordinary, Mira. You always were. I just couldn't see it. They weren't whole. Might never be whole. But it was a start. Her parents left together, and Mira was alone on the hillside until Dominic appeared beside her, moving so quietly she almost didn't hear him. Your parents? He asked. Trying. We'll see. And you? How are you handling all this? He gestured to the territory below, to the pack that now looked to her as their alpha. Mira thought about the question. 3 weeks ago, she'd been nobody. Invisible. Broken. Now she led her own pack, wielded power that made other alphas bow, and stood as an equal to the Alpha King. I'm terrified, she admitted. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. These wolves look to me for guidance, and I barely know how to shift properly. You freed them from torture. Healed their corrupted magic. Gave them hope when they had nothing. Dominic pulled her close. They don't follow you because you're perfect. They follow you because you understand what it means to suffer and survive. What about us? Mira asked quietly. You're the Alpha King. I'm leading a pack of outcasts. Where does that leave us? Together. Dominic's voice was absolute. We merge the territories. Your pack and mine become one alliance. We rule as equals, not you standing beside me, not you following my lead. True partners. The Territorial Council will never accept it. The Territorial Council just watched you dismantle the Shadow Collective in under an hour. They'll accept whatever we tell them to accept. He smiled. Besides, you broke my pack's curse. Used your Moonborn magic to heal our fading wolves. Our children are being born strong again. You saved us. You saved me first. Then we're even. He took her hand. I'm not asking you to give up your independence. I'm asking you to build something with me. A new kind of pack. A new kind of power structure. One where Moonborn aren't hunted. Where outcasts have homes. Where strength and compassion can coexist. Mira looked up at him, this alpha who'd seen her when no one else had, who'd claimed her in a ballroom and changed everything. I don't need you to save me anymore, she said. But I want to build something with you. Not because I'm invisible without you. Because I'm stronger with you beside me. Then say yes. Yes to what? Dominic dropped to one knee. From his pocket, he pulled a ring, simple silver band etched with symbols that glowed faintly with moonborn magic. Marry me. Not as my Luna, following pack tradition. As my equal. My partner. My mate in every sense of the word. His silver eyes blazed with certainty. Crown me as I crown you. Rule beside me. Build this new world with me. Myra's heart did something complicated in her chest. That's not how pack hierarchy works. Then we'll change how it works. We're already breaking every rule. Might as well break them all. He smiled. What do you say, Mira Chen? Ready to be the moonborn queen? She thought about the girl who'd sat invisible in that ballroom 3 weeks ago. The one who believed she was broken, powerless, unworthy of love or attention or respect. That girl was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, braver, more whole. Yes, Mira said. Dominic stood and kissed her, the mate bond blazing between them like a star, and below them, their combined packs howled their approval into the fading light. The ceremony 3 weeks later blended ancient moonborn rituals with Northern Territory traditions, creating something entirely new. They held it in the same ballroom where Dominic had first claimed her. But this time, Mira didn't sit in the corner, invisible and ignored. She stood at the center of everything, wearing silver silk that caught the light, her hair crowned with moonflowers. The Territorial Council attended. Every major alpha in the region. They'd come to witness something unprecedented, 2 alphas of equal power formally bonding, creating an alliance that would reshape the political landscape. Dominic entered first, dressed in black, looking every inch the alpha king. The crowd parted for him, but when he reached the center, he stopped and turned back to the entrance. Waiting. Then Mira entered. The ballroom went silent. Every eye fixed on her as she walked the same path Dominic had taken, her head high, her gold eyes blazing with moonborn light. She stopped across from him, and they faced each other as equals. The ceremony was simple. They spoke vows not of submission or service, but of partnership. They crowned each other with circlets of silver and moonstone. And when the elder proclaimed them bonded, the crowd erupted in celebration. Not because an alpha had taken a Luna. Because 2 rulers had chosen each other. The celebration afterward lasted until dawn. Dancing, feasting, pack members from both territories mingling and celebrating. The failed experiments Mira had freed were there, whole and healthy, integrating into pack life. Even some of her family had come, her parents, standing at the edge, watching with pride and regret mixed together. Vivian hadn't come. Vivian was gone, cast out and alone, living with the consequences of her choices. Some stories didn't have happy endings. But Myra's did. As midnight approached, Dominic took her hand and led her to the dance floor. The same spot where he'd claimed her, where he'd announced, "She's with me," and changed the trajectory of her entire life. "Ready to show them who you really are?" he whispered against her ear. Mira smiled, feeling the weight of the crown on her head, the strength of the mate bond pulsing between them, the awareness of hundreds of eyes watching her with respect and admiration instead of pity. She thought about the invisible girl who'd clutched a champagne flute and counted minutes until she could leave. That girl had been waiting, not broken, just sleeping. Waiting to discover her own strength. "I already did," Mira said, her eyes flashing moonborn gold as she pulled him close. "Tonight, I'm just dancing with my mate." They moved together as the music swelled, 2 rulers, 2 partners, 2 halves of a whole. Around them, their combined packs celebrated, a family built not on bloodlines or tradition, but on choice and survival and the radical idea that outcasts could become queens. Mira caught her reflection in the ballroom windows. Silver crown, gold eyes, standing beside an alpha king, surrounded by people who saw her, valued her, chose her. Finally, completely visible. Not because someone else had made her seen, but because she'd learned to see herself. The music played. Dominic held her close. And Mira Chen, Moonborn Alpha, breaker of curses, queen of outcasts, danced under the fairy lights and knew that she was exactly where she was always meant to be. Home. I know you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Do well to share your thoughts in the comments section below and forward this video to friends and well-wishers. The end.